This is David Hupp with his Print Media Ministries. Today's training video is on what are called duotones. We see here in Adobe Photoshop a picture I got out of a chess book that's in full color. This would work fine for using to print on an inkjet or to print on a laser printer, color laser printer. But for a printing press, at least the one that we have, two-color exact registration printing press. See if I have a picture here. Yes, right here. This is the picture of the exact registration printing press. It does two colors, but doing four colors would require running through twice and having an accurate plate making system, which we don't have. So therefore, to fully utilize the capability of our printing press, we would like to make documents that are utilize the two colors and variations of two colors, a combination of two colors, which is called a duotone. So we start out with either a full color document like this, and then we will change it into this over here. This is called a duotone. And so the duotone, first a person takes the color document, which I just showed you. Let's see this one here, and then the person goes up here under image in Photoshop mode and then goes to grayscale, converts it to a one color image and discards the color information, and then one goes up here to image and mode and then over to duotone. And I wanted to show you before we looked at this Pantone Matching System of colors, or you can buy pre-mixed inks or use the initial colors, this basic set, to mix these 800 to 1,000 colors, which we would use for our two colors on the printing press. And so what I picked in the case of the Are You Playing with Satan track that you saw the cover art for, I pick a 185 red and the black, and so we'll downsize that. And so here's what you see. I've got this here is just a 182 and it says monotone, so I went from making it an image over here to mode, and then I went to duotone, and now I want a duotone, not a monotone, so I go duotone, and for my first color here I double click and I pick out the 185 red here, and then I click OK, and then for my second color I click right here and I'm going to go to Pantone Black, I believe it is. It should be somewhere near the beginning here. Let's see if we can find it. Anyway, I'm going to pick, since I don't see it right off, I'm going to pick this a gray color here. And then what you would do after you go OK on that, you got the two colors, then you would begin to double click here, and you can drag these different curves here, histogram curves or whatever, and you can create the balance between the one color. How much, like down here you can see I'm using more red and less of gray, and up here I'm using more gray and less red. That looks kind of muddy, washed out. So if you wanted to do an exact combination of equal amounts of both, you'd put this one in the middle, a straight angular 45-degree line, and then you click on this one up here, you go OK on that one, and then on this one up here, this histogram, you would move this up here to the middle like that, make that, and that's approximately what I did. So I would go OK, and I would go OK there, and then what happens as a result is you can view you'll notice that when you make it into the image up here and then mode and then duotone, and you save the image, the results are being saved as a Photoshop PSD you see some of the different ones up here in my different documents end as a PSD. The reason that we use a Photoshop document instead of a TIFF or a JPEG is because when we transfer or place these images into the page layout program, the Pantone numbers will carry over from Photoshop over into InDesign. So I'm going to switch over here now, and you'll see this is my picture that I decided the right balance of the 185 red and the black. And then I went over here to File. First I drew used this picture box tool here, and I drew a picture box. And then I went to File, and I went to Place. And then I looked up the place on the computer where the item was that I'd saved it, and then I placed it into that box there. So you see all the different possibilities here stored on your hard drive. And I also put a red border and I also made red text down here. And the nice thing about choosing the 185 red, as you'll see, we use a text tool here, and you drag across some of the red. You'll see over here in the colors palette, which I'll bring over here where you can see it, you'll see that when I drag across that red text there, it's the 185 color. And so we want to make sure that since we only have the use of two colors in our printing press document, we want to make sure that the text that we use is either in the one color, the black, or in the red. And on the title here, if you zoom in on my title, you can see that I have a slight black outline around the red. So I'm trying to utilize the full capability of color, the two colors that I have. And then you see a little bit of black shadow here on the letters caused by under Effects. You go Object down here, up here, and then you go down to Effects. And in the Effects panel, if this were highlighted, you'd go down here under the arrow key. I'd highlight the text area here, see if it got highlighted. Now it's highlighted. You go Object, and you go down to Effects. And you see I have a bevel, what's called a bevel and emboss here. When you double click on that, you get all these things you can do with the bevel and emboss. And it looks like I have a drop shadow here too, but it doesn't seem to be showing. So those are all possibilities for enhancing your title to make it have a kind of a smooth emboss here to make it have a look like that. So let's do a color separation now. In InDesign, we have what's called CS3, and later you have what's called the separations preview. And so I go up here to View, and I'm going to go to Separations, and I have all these colors listed, but we're not going to be concerning ourselves with any of these up here because I don't believe now. The only two colors we're really concerning ourselves with are the 185 and the black. And so let's see what we got here now. If we'll zoom out or fit on page and window. So here we've got now we've got the red there. There's a little something wrong here, but as you can see, if I disconnect the red here, then I just have the black image and of the duotone. And then if I click the red and I disconnect the black, then I have in black what the red image looks like. This text here was in red. The black text for some reason didn't properly get separated, which is nice to know, so I can go fix that. Now, as far as this devil character over here, this is another example of a duotone. And what I did was, let's see if I can find it here in Photoshop. I'm going to the devil photo. The devil photo, when I'm finished with it, this is what it looked like before it was turned into a duotone. I was down in Santa Barbara, California, in the El Paseo mall, and I saw this out in front of the styrofoam type statue out in front of a shop, and I took a picture of it with my 5-megapixel camera, and then I opened it up in Photoshop, and I used the magic wand tool you'll see over here in the tools palette, and I clicked in the background, and I and then I pressed delete and slowly deleted all the background. Then I went up here to image mode, and I went to grayscale, and I discarded the color information and turned it into a grayscale. And then I went up here, image mode, and then duotone, and I was able to it's already fixed there for me. I picked my 185. We double click here, go into the Pantone selection of colors, and I picked a solid uncoated because I want solid colors for the printing press, not something made out of the 4-color process. And I picked the 185 there and clicked OK. And then I picked the this says 429 U, but it really should be a Pantone black. So you can get a kind of an idea how by doing this you can, and then you'll also notice here that I lightened the image here. The reason being is that I wanted to put the text in front of it, and I didn't want it to interfere with reading the text. So let's see if we can find something up here where I have something that shows with the whole document. This here is that was my duotone that I made. This one here was the devil photo by itself as a duotone. This one here, Are You Playing with Satan? That was the cover as a duotone. And here was the this was the devil as a duotone. And this was the devil picture originally after I cropped out the background. And so I guess that's about it. So I was trying to show you what it would look like when I had the text in front of the document. So what I have to do to get to that, I have to go to InDesign. And so I'm going to see if I can find an InDesign. We'll take off the color separations here off. And now you can see that if I switch this around and went to Object, Transform, Rotate 180 degrees. Object, Transform, Rotate 180 degrees. Let me type in 180 here. I've got just the text selected now, so that's why that didn't work. I have to step back, edit, undo over here, undo rotate item. Now I have to just select everything, and now I have to go Object, Rotate, Transform, Rotate 180 degrees down here. I could go Edit, Select All first. And then I go Object, Rotate 180 degrees, Transform, Rotate 180 degrees. And so let's see what we get when I do that. It didn't seem to work. So anyway, you can see that duotone allows you to take a grayscale image and convert it into something a little more nicer looking, not a full color like for a laser printer, but for a printing press, convert it into a black and white item into a color item. For example, here's another example. You see here, this is a duotone. I was at the library, same place I got the Are You Playing with Satan cover picture, and I looked in a book on chess, and I found this graphic I wanted to use for my tract or flyer called It's Your Move. And so I scanned it at 300 dots per inch. I'd like to show you another thing down here in the scanning software here. Since this picture was previously printed on a printing press before I scanned it and not a photograph from the photographic process earlier camera, so I decided I had to be careful when I scanned it. I scanned it at 300, 600 dpi. So if you do that, you're going to want to check here in your scanning software. This is the Epson scan V500 photo. What you'll want to do is you'll want to check on this box here that says descreening, and you want to scan as an 8-bit grayscale if it's a grayscale item, and you want to scan at 300 or 600 dpi. And by clicking the descreen, you'll avoid what's called a moire pattern. You have, if you're scanning dots of a picture that's already been created digitally, it'll have made out of dots, and so when you scan that and then you try to scan it again, a printed picture is going to make what's called a funky moire pattern. So now we can zoom in here, and I can show you how it looks. You don't really see the dots of any kind here, but the picture will print with little marks that will transfer over to make a plate for a printing press. And so let's look at a couple of the other. There's a little darker one there. Now let's zoom in on this one. See, this one's a little more coarse background to make coarser dots that won't wash out when you use harsh chemicals to develop your printing plate. Let's look at this one over here. So here was my original black and white, and so what I wanted to do in this case is another example of making your duotone. What you do is you go up here to image, and the mode now is grayscale, as you see, and then you go to duotone. And in this case I was making my two colors Pantone black. So let's see if we can find the Pantone black here someplace. No, don't see it. It must be near the bottom maybe, or near the top. Usually it's at the top here, Pantone black. So that would be the Pantone black you'd pick for the one color, and then the other color would be what I wanted. Instead of the 185 red, I wanted a what's called a reflex blue, which would be in this area here someplace, or maybe at the beginning. Let's see if we can find a reflex blue at the beginning. Yeah, the reflex blue is in here, I think. So let's go down a little bit. You find the different kinds of blue in here, and so what I ended up doing, I ended up picking oh, there it was. There. Pantone reflex blue, standard mixing color. And something's wrong here. So that one's okay, so I'm okaying that one, but this one over here. So now I've got my two colors, and this looks similar to what I printed on the tract. I don't think I have a copy of the tract open where I put the picture inside the document, but you see your histograms here, and you double click here, you can adjust the histograms, and since this is the blue one here, you can move it down, you get less blue, and you move it up here more, you get more blue. And so I think it works fine if you pretty much just put it down the middle like I had it, and then click on the black. That one's okay. This one, click on the black here, and you see that one's already in the middle. So just leaving it the way it comes out when you select the Pantone Matching System color seems to be okay. It's a little bit on the gray side, but that seems to be all right. And when you put it on the printing press, of course, you're probably going to be printing the black over the blue. So in case there's any trap on anything, you'll have the black border on the picture trapping over the blue. So that's today's message on dealing with duotones. And there'll be other training messages in the future under desktop publishing or Christian evangelism printing or his print media ministry. Thank you for watching this video.